Hello everyone and welcome to EDU 234, Philosophical Foundations of Education. This is a brief orientation video to get you a little more familiar with how the course is structured, how the content buttons are set up so that you kind of understand where you're supposed to be going. All online courses are just a little bit different, and so this will help to guide you through. After you're done viewing it though, be sure to go back into your content, click around on a few different buttons just so that you can get a little more familiar with where you can find your content, your grades, and other things that you need to be successful in the course. So as you log in, you can see the very first page is announcements. Anytime you log into the course, this is the first place it's going to go. You're going to see any important announcements about deadlines, about changes in the technology, about developments in your content. All of those things are going to be posted here, so you can always run through those. On the left-hand side, you're going to see a series of different menu items, and I'm just going to run through those very briefly one by one so that you know where you can find your content. Now the very first one, obviously we have right here, this is our course ID, and anytime you see this little home button, this will take you right back to announcements, so just know that you can click on that and you can access your content. The very first button is the This Week's button, and when I click there, this is where I'm going to go to get the folders and the assignments and the links that I know I need for that week. So for example, this is our first week of class, and so I have two folders here. I have a Before We Begin folder and then our actual unit materials. So what's nice about this is it's a very clear, quick, direct link just to what you need for that week. Now, you may need to be able to go back into other units at certain times or move forward to try to get an idea of where you are in the sense of the entire course, and that's fine. There's another area for that. But for the most part, when we click on this week, it's going to take you directly to what you need. Now, the two courses you can see, there are actually two folders here for this week. In future weeks, you're just going to see one folder, but because we're getting started, there is a Before We Begin area. You want to make sure that you click on that, because that is going to bring us to policies, syllabi, checklist, textbook information, netiquette, all those sorts of things that you need to know in order to really get oriented to the class. Your syllabus is here, your assignment checklist. If it helps you to have a checklist of things you have to do each week rather than going into Blackboard, you can print this out, keep it close to your computer, and that makes everything very easy. There are also standards for written English here. One of the things you may notice about this course that's different from some other courses is that if I had to include all of these items in other courses in the past, I might have created a separate content item for each one. Here I try to condense it as much as possible, so you will see these little sort of links in blue here. If you see those, that means there is a web link or a document that you can click on in order to access the information. Every now and then it will actually be, the content item will be the link itself. And so if you roll over, you can see as I roll over this link here, the little finger pointing shows up there, and I know that that is a link. But here, if I roll over the title, nothing happens. Now sometimes you are going to roll over the title and that's going to be an access to an assignment link or something like that. So just realize that sometimes you're going to have the links embedded within the item. Sometimes the link is actually in the title item itself. You'll get a really good feel for it after a while about where you can find things. But really, I would say just start clicking. If you're trying to access something, just click on it, see if anything happens, and if it doesn't, then you know that it's the opposite. Okay, so as we scroll through here, other information that you would need is your textbook. Please, I will take a quick moment here just to remind you that this is a custom textbook. It is designed to get at exactly what you need out of it and not the things that we can have supplemented by other materials. So it is custom. Please don't purchase it online. Normally you can get a pretty good deal, but this is designed to help save you money. So if you buy it online, you will actually pay more. So please just be aware of that even a used textbook is going to cost you more than this custom one. So just be aware of that when you purchase your text. There's a standards of professionalism listing here. You can read through that. Another thing that might be different is the FAQs list. Everything that you need to know is in the syllabus, but sometimes we're just looking at real quick things like when is my work due. So if I want to go ahead and click on this link, I can see that it gives me, some information explaining that my work is always due on every Friday at midnight. That might be a little bit different from some other classes. Quite often they're Sunday night. This one is Friday. So that sort of thing could be helpful to know. And you can just click it again to collapse it if you choose. Information on how you'll be graded, those sorts of things. So you can find most of what you need between the FAQs and the syllabus. You're pretty well covered. The other thing I would point out is there in this first before we begin area is the course introduction quiz. You do need to pass a really quick, easy check just to make sure, did you read through the syllabus, did you read through the policies, do you understand what is actually expected from you out of this course. You will not be able to access other content in the course until this is completed with 100%. Now I will point out though that you can take this quiz as many times as you want. You can leave extra windows open, you can have the syllabus printed out and refer to it. It's not a question of did you memorize all of the policies, it's just do you understand it. So just realize that you can take this as many times as you like, but I do have to have some assurance that you know exactly what is expected out of you before you move forward. So that's maybe a little bit different too. Finally, at the end of every unit, you're going to see this little link here that says questions. That is a link directly to the instructor email. If you ever have a question, you certainly can go into your own email and send an email that way. But these are always at the bottom of every unit. So as you're going through, if you have a question about content or grades or policy or anything like that, it's just a quick link. You can go ahead and shoot it off and it makes it nice and easy. Okay. And going to my breadcrumbs, if I go back to my course content to before we begin, let me go to this week. And then I can see, I've got my Unit 1 information here. Now you'll notice if I click on that, it said that this resource is not available. I'm not going to be able to access it. The reason I can't, again, is I didn't take that course introduction quiz. This is not going to show until I get 100% on that quiz. Once I get 100%, then when I click in, I am going to see the unit. So after I complete it successfully, this is what I'm going to see. Now as I scroll down here, you're going to see a unit description, and then you're going to see this to-do list. And this is kind of what I wanted to point out to everyone is the to-do list. Everything that you have to get done for that unit is going to be listed here. You're going to see an approximate time value here. Realize these times are just a guess. For some people, it's not going to take you, I say 5 minutes to enroll yourself into a group. In all honesty, it will probably take you about 30 seconds to click there, find out which group you belong in, add to it, and you're done. So these things are always just estimates. For people who need a little bit more time to work with their technology or try to figure things out, then you're going to see a range here where, to create these necessary accounts, some things like, Google Drive, for example, is one of the things you'll have to do. You may already have an account, so you don't even have to worry about that. But it might take you more time if you're not used to setting up accounts or you're trying to figure out your passwords and things like that. So these are, just kind of guesses. Now as you go through the list, you're going to see that there are items in black and there are items in red. The items that are in black are things that you have to complete for mastery in order to move on in the course, but you will notice that you can see for this particular unit, items 1 through 5 are in black. You're going to be able to see those. As you move through here, you're going to see all 5 of those items. They're all there, okay? But here's the trick. For the discussion, the lengthy assignment, and the cohort activity, these items are part of your final grade. These items you do have to complete, and you won't be able to access your graded items until these are finished. So that's another thing. Just realize that if you notice in this class that some content is blocked that you are expecting, it means that something on your to-do list wasn't done or wasn't done to a certain level. So for example, in later units, there are going to be some chapter quizzes based on your readings. You have to complete those with a mastery level of 80% or better. So once you hit that 80%, then the other items will show up. But it's only when you complete earlier items for mastery that you will be able to see the items that are actually part of your grade. For everything that is graded in this class, there is a rubric. You can click on it and get a really good finite idea of how exactly you're graded. If you have any questions as you're developing your work, all you have to do is contact the instructor. But just know that this course is developed on Mastery, so that you're going to see this kind of setup for every single unit. Okay. All right, so that's in the This Week button, and that's how your weeks are going to go every time. When you click on What's Due, of course, within the modules and your course schedule and your syllabus, you're going to have due dates absolutely everywhere. But it's nice sometimes to just get, when you're just trying to focus in on, okay, what do I have to do in order to complete my work for this week? You can click on this. It hooks up to a To-Do module. You can select a date. So let's say you're going on vacation on the 3rd week in June and you want to find out what is due ahead of time, figure out if you can work ahead a little bit so that you can plan out your week a little bit better. That's going to make it a lot easier. But you can also see, now obviously we're not anywhere near summer yet, but during the summertime, you're going to see in your listing things that are due today, if there is anything due today, tomorrow. Most of the time, you're going to see this week because your due dates are all on Fridays. So unless you're checking on a Friday, it's not going to show up as today. It will usually show up as this week. And then you're going to see items that are set up in the future. So what are some things that you're going to have to check on a little bit later? Well, here I can see that when I check on my future listing, these are the different items that I know are due. This tells me when they're due. And so it can be pretty helpful to be able to look at that and know what you have to do. But again, there's 3 places where you can find due dates: your syllabus, the What's Due area, and then your My Grades area, which I'll show you in just a minute. If you click on course content, you are going to be able to see, actually let me pop back over here. Oh, it's not going to show you. But with your course content, you will be able to see, once you actually complete your course introduction quiz, you're going to be able to see a listing of your course content. And that can be extremely helpful to get an idea of all of the different units. And again, this is going to show up once you actually finish your course introduction quiz. The other buttons here, you're not going to be spending nearly as much time in, but it can be helpful to know. There's information on your instructor here that kind of outlines my background and my experiences and helps to give you an idea of how I can guide you through this. But the other important area is the grades area. And when you click on My Grades, this is what you're going to see. Your class average is always going to be up here, okay? And this is a weighted average. Everything in this class is out of 100. Not all of the assignments are weighted in the same way, as you can see from the syllabus, but everything is out of 100%. So when you see, this listing over here, just know every single grade, it doesn't matter what it is. Discussion, short assignment, long assignment, everything is going to be out of 100. So just be aware of that. Everything is in chronological order according to the due date here, so you can see as you're scrolling through here, if you notice that you've got a gap in a box here, and you can scroll down the rest of them, you know that there might be something that you missed. So just check this area pretty frequently. Remember again too that the items that are in here are the items that are graded. Not everything in the class that you have to do is graded, so just don't be surprised that might be a little different from your other classes. For each item you will see alignments as well. So if I click on alignments, this is going to give me a course goal. So one of the things that you need to be able to accomplish in this class is to investigate the values and implications for education that are associated with different philosophies of education and create your own philosophy. So if you want to understand how your assignments actually link to overall course goals, then you can go ahead and check that alignments area. Final thing I'd point out in My Grades is if you scroll down toward the bottom, you will see all of these readings quizzes. You're going to see a number of things here that don't have a due date listed. There's no rubric, and you will see a score here. Just realize that it's not counted for your final. Remember that readings quizzes, you have to accomplish them within 80 or better. So all of these grades are going to be 80% or better because the rest of your content is blocked. But I keep this here in your grades area, even though it doesn't count for your final grade. I include it here because once you're done, if you want to go back and see which ones you missed and look at your different attempts and try to get a better understanding of your readings, you'll be able to do so. So that's the other important area. The only other 2 things I would point out, obviously announcements. You can always go back to the announcements if there's something that I mentioned that you want to know more about. And then course information. Throughout the course of all of the regular semester, so here I have syllabus and policies, but you will also see in this area font bond policy information, Some of the other buttons in a live semester, you're going to see academic help, a link to the library, various university policies, accessibility information if you need any of that. So broad overall university buttons are going to show up around here as well. So just, kind of be aware that that's there. Very last thing I'll point out is the My Groups area. You are actually going to be listed in 2 groups throughout the course of the semester. This one, for the demo account, I went ahead and added myself to the early childhood group. One of the groups is going to be based on your level, so whatever level of schooling that you are preparing yourself for, or whatever level you want to get certified in, that's going to be one group. And then there's a case study group a little bit later on. So as you add yourself to that, you'll be able to see that link as well. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, anything is not entirely clear for you, just let me know. Best advice I can give you for getting through this course is to take everything one step at a time. Quite often online students try to jump around and go back and forth, and that's just not going to help you. You're going to want to take things one step very carefully at a time so that you can master earlier things before you move on to things that are more advanced. Okay, thank you very much. And good